following presentation of the Penn Sports Network is brought to you by Oakland Hall.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Penn Sports Network here on thepenn.org. I'm Jake Slobodnik, joined by Jeff Hart and Steve Langdon Jr. for our first installment of Off the Court, or in the fall semester, Off the Field. And, we are very honored to welcome a new face to IUP and to Off the Court into the Penn Sports Network, Quinton Maxwell, everyone. The new IUP starting quarterback. Quinton, welcome to our show. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you, and thanks for having me.
Hey, no problem. So pretty much what we do is we just get to know you a little bit more, just ask you a few questions, and just chilled, laid back sort of show. So without further ado, I'll let Steven take out the first question. So Steve, why don't you get us underway here?
Yeah, so of course your transfer from Ohio University. First, could you take us through the process you went through of going through the transfer portal and eventually ending up at IUP?
Well, I think it's definitely made it easier for student athletes to transfer. I know it's been catching a lot of backlash, and a lot of people don't necessarily like the process, but it definitely benefits student athletes. So, in the past, you've had to inform your school that you're transferring, and then you have to go out and you got to try to find schools that you want to go to. And there was a certain element of that for me, but with the transfer portal, I told the coaches at OU that I want to transfer. I want to pursue another option in my career. And they granted me that, and the compliance director there at OU, he put my name into the portal, and within a week, Coach Tort called me here at IUP, and the rest is history.
Yeah, awesome. We have a wonderful program for football over the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and one of the biggest things also is like that portal we're talking about. I'm glad Stephen brought it up. Empowering athletes is like one of the big movements that you said. It's taking a lot of backlash, whether it be on the collegiate level or NBA. It's nice to see that like the players are kind of being empowered and being able to kind of like make their own choice and being able to transfer or have the abilities and tools to make it easier.
And definitely. If you look at the scene of college football this season, it's completely changed. There's a new quarterback at Ohio State. There's a new quarterback at Oklahoma. You see all these big names, Jacob Eason out at Washington. So it really is giving a little bit of power back to the student athlete in terms of taking their career into their own hands and doing what they want with it. And that's something that's benefited me, and I'm glad to be here.
Well, we're glad to have you. Let's flash it back more to your tenure at Ohio. What would you say were your favorite moments there?
Oh, goodness. Obviously, one of my favorite things was my teammates there. Built up 4 years worth of bonds with those guys, and wouldn't trade that for anything. Maybe an in-game moment would have been the Howard game last year. Having to come from behind to win that game in the season opener at home. It wasn't a tough game, or it was a very tough game. It was not a very easy game at all. And we had to fight, scrape, and battle for it, and just being a big, intricate part of that was one. And then helping the Bobcats get to a MAC championship in 2016 as a redshirt freshman. That was the first year I ever played in a game at the collegiate level. So those are definitely two of the major highlights that I'll always hold on to from my time at OU.
Definitely some big moments. You have 4 years worth of track work there, and it's hard to pick one. I know we ask that question for a lot of our athletes, especially just to get a gauge on like where some of their fondest memories are, and a lot of them most of the time say the camaraderie with the teammates, the coaches, the time on the buses together, and it's kind of like a recurring theme I've seen throughout every interview. It's kind of nice to hear that.
But they each have like a little personal twist.
Yeah, they all
to
have
them.
a personal twist to them.
And I'll add, the Bahamas Bowl was a lot of fun. Bahamas Bowl was definitely a lot of fun.
Bowl games are always the best.
Yeah. But when it's in the Bahamas, can't beat it.
Yeah, the Bahamas, which
football,
praying for the Bahamas
beach.
right now. They're getting hammered right now by Hurricane Dorian, so
absolutely.
Hopefully it all goes well for them.
And one of the great things is that you were actually able to play. A lot of transfers that we do get, unfortunately did not have that opportunity to play in Division I, but you got that opportunity to, gain experience and know what it feels like to play at that elite level.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, and that was a big thing. I have a lot of in-game experience, which that's something that I'm leaning on coming here, learning a new system. While there are similarities, it is a new offensive system. So, just leaning on my game experience from the past is something that's been big for me.
Absolutely. I kind of want to talk about, you as an athlete, and you talk about the training a little bit and transitioning, the audience probably doesn't know you're obviously a stellar football player. You can't make it to a D1 school in one of the better Divisional II schools without being a stellar football player, but you lettered in 4 different sports in high school, including baseball, track, basketball. Like, you did a lot. So what's kind of the difference between the training between here and Ohio? Like, what if you noticed any differences, similarities,
well,
sort of thing?
I think one of the big things, and that's going to be with any Division I school as opposed to most Division II schools, is the resources that you have, as opposed to a Division I school versus a Division II school. And I think we're moving in the right direction in terms of giving IUP student athletes all the resources we could need. I mean, with the new fueling station there in the field house, that's a step in the right direction for the nutritional department. I mean, that we didn't have training tables at OU, so it's not necessarily a training table, but it's something that we have here that we didn't have at OU. But I mean, in terms of the training regimen, I mean, preseason camp is preseason camp. I mean, it's pretty much the same everywhere you go. So, I mean, you got to get ready for that first game of the year. The lifting programs are very, very similar. Coach Mitch has done a very good job of getting us ready and trying to get us as healthy as he can be, or as healthy as we can be going into that first game against New Haven, and hopefully we'll get out there and be ready to rock and roll on Saturday.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I lost my train of thought. Sorry. Steve, you want to go next?
Yeah, so of course you talked about those off-season workouts, but as a team as a whole, like, is there any standout players that you've seen or like have worked with throughout the off-season that you've been very impressed with?
Oh, I mean, we've got lots of talent all over the place on both sides of the ball. I mean, JoJo coming back has 2 years of starting experience. Dwayne played as a freshman. Dom's played here for 2 years. We've got a lot of experience in the backfield with Samir and Justice. And 4 or 5 coming back, returning starters up front on the offensive line. So, I mean, to say there's a lot of experience on the offensive side of the ball is an understatement. Not only is there experience, but there's explosiveness. All these guys have big play capability. And then if you look at the defensive side of the ball, I mean, Damon Lloyd, Tillman, Shockley, Shaq, I mean, there's a lot of experience and playmaking ability on both sides of the ball. And, I mean, when I was here in the summer, there wasn't as much of an opportunity because not everybody was here. That was the difference between Ohio and here. Is at Ohio, we were all required to be there in the summer for workouts and everything. Here, you're not required to be, and I understand that a little bit. So, but I mean, definitely through camp, I mean, the receiving group and running back group are both, I mean, loaded with talent, and then we've got some really, really high quality young tight ends coming back that are going to make a big impact throughout the entire season.
Absolutely.
Well,
do you have, like, is there any ceiling that you guys have as far as, you know, how you're prepared and everything? Like, is there any, like, win total that you're aiming for, or, like?
I wouldn't say that there's a set number. We talk about all the time doing your job, and if we play smart and play the right way, that there's not a team on our schedule that we can't beat, and we think that there's not a team in the country that we can't beat if we play well and play up to our full potential. But you have to do that week in, week out, every single practice, day in, day out. But at the same time, there's not a team on our schedule that couldn't beat us if we don't show up and play our best game. So, I mean, I think that everybody understands that. I mean, in 2017, this team was in the national semifinals, and we're that close to going to the national championship game. To last year, we slipped up a little bit. We had the same group of guys coming back, Lenny and a 3-year starter, and the same offensive line up front. And for some odd reason, that team fell short. And I think there's a lot of pieces coming back from that team, and we realize that we don't want to make that mistake again. In terms of our ceiling, we fully have the expectation that we can win a conference championship and we can genuinely compete for a national championship. So I would say that our ceiling is really, really high, but I mean, if we don't play well, we can get beat by anybody on our schedule and anybody in the country.
Absolutely.
I mean, you guys have a strong enough core that you could show up day in and day out, and like you said, you're fully capable of taking on any team in the country. I think that IUP could even overcome Alabama if, you know.
Yeah, well, Alabama's a whole different monster. Alabama's a whole different animal.
But, you know, that success doesn't come without, you know, like a little bit of sort of incentive to do well, and a little bit of a motto for the football season. And we all know, a lot of us at IUP and even you see that Coach Tort has his motto of all in. But do you have anything that gets you through, like a personal motto or personal, routine to get prepared for teams? Or
there are things that I write on my notebook every single day before every meeting that I kind of go by, but 2 of the big ones are believe in yourself and have fun. I mean, because first off, this football is a game. I mean, if you're not having fun, then you need to hang it up. And I try to go out there, put a smile on my face every day, and have fun out there at the same time while working hard and getting the work in. Because, I mean, you look at some of the best in the game. I mean, Tom Brady, the Peyton Mannings of the world, the Aaron Rodgers of the world, Joe Montana's. yeah, they came out and they had fun, but the reason they had fun is because they worked hard and they had success. So that's the way that I believe in, is just having fun. And then the second part of that is just believing in yourself. You got to have self-confidence, because if you don't have that, what's to say your teammates aren't going to have confidence in you if you don't have confidence first in yourself. So those are two things that I would say that I kind of lean on when times are getting tough, or when I need to remember to keep my head up.
Yeah, confidence is definitely key, because even if you let that slip for 1 second, the entire thing could falter. But
Definitely.
But I know IUP is definitely a confidence-heavy team, and so
Definitely.
Well, and you mentioned one thing, the love of the game. I don't think a lot of non-athletes take this into account. We've seen professional athletes just recently, whether it be Rob Gronkowski or Andrew Luck or those guys, they lost their love for the game because of the injuries they had to undergo, and they didn't love going to work anymore. So when you love it and have that passion, it makes the world a difference, and that motivates you every day. It makes you want to do
Definitely. You don't want to go into the field house or go into the facility every day and have a nagging injury that you just, and then that stuff weighs on you. I mean, like you brought up Andrew Luck. I mean, he felt like he was never able to be healthy.
Yeah.
So I mean, definitely just trying to have fun and realize that it is a game at the end of the day. I mean, there are worse things in this life than losing a football game. There are bigger things in life than winning a football game. So at the end of the day, it is a game, but it's a game we want to compete to win. And I mean, that's how we have fun with it, is putting our best foot out there every single Saturday and making the other team truly beat us, not beating ourselves.
You said that you love the game. Like, has football always been your true love?
Yep.
Or, okay.
I think the first thing I ever held when I was a kid was a stuffed football. So I mean, since day one, football has been what I wanted to do.
Do you have any role models in football, or just in life in general, or?
Well, I mean, obviously a big role model in life in general are my parents. Definitely. My parents and both my grandpas, they were, I mean, two of the hardest working men I know, and my dad would even say that they outwork him. So those are two that are in my day-to-day life. In terms of football, I was always a big Marcus Mariota fan. Still am to this day. Hopefully he has a good year this year. But I mean, just the way he carries himself, what he represents, what he's all about, I think that gets overlooked by a lot of people, and the type of person that he is. And I mean, he realizes that, yeah, he's got this platform. He's an NFL quarterback, but at the same time, he's such a good person off the field, and that's what it's about. It's, at the end of the day, yeah, it's nice to be remembered by what you've done on the field, but you're ultimately remembered by how you treat people in your lives, how you treat people that could be complete strangers to you, and that's, I mean, one thing that kind of resonates with me.
Yeah, you have a very similar playing style, I would say, to Marcus Mariota. You are able to throw the ball, but if you do need to run the ball, I have noticed that you are able to carry the ball fairly well, 4 rushing touchdowns even last year.
Yep. I mean, I wish I could say I was as fast as Marcus Mariota, but that isn't true. He can fly. But I mean, I definitely would say that I'm more of a pocket guy. I can beat you with my feet, and I will. But I mean, I'm a quarterback. I mean, my job description is to distribute the ball with my arm, or get us into the right play in the run game. But I mean, the large part of playing quarterbacks, you got to be able to throw the ball. So that's what I want to do. I want to be able to stand in there, and with the offensive line that we've got with Jeff and Colin and Dobbs and everybody, we've got the O-line to keep all of our quarterbacks upright. So just to stand in there, deliver the ball, and distribute it to our playmakers, and get it out of my hand is what I'm going to try to get done this year.
So maybe more of a pass-heavy offensive scheme this year.
Yeah, I think in the past, Lenny was a great quarterback here. Obviously, 3-year starter, holds pretty much every record up and down the record book. And he could really throw the ball, but I mean he was a far better runner than I ever was, and they used that at times, I think, last year. And not that I can't run the ball, but he was just a far better runner than I am. So I mean, I think the coaches have tried to get me up to speed with the offense and kind of do some things that I have familiarity with, whether it be stuff that I brought from OU or just stuff that I'm familiar with in general about the offense and that suit my strengths.
That is one of the things I'm looking forward to in this season, is going from a dual threat quarterback to, like you said, almost like a pocket passer. Able to throw the ball 50 yards down the field if need be. And that's one of the things I'm most pumped about, is being able to see you throw it to these wonderful wide receivers.
Oh yeah, and I mean, like I said, there's so much big play capability in the wide receiver group, whether it's Dwayne or it's JoJo or it's Don McNeil or it's DeWine or it's Herc or Q Carter. And then, like I said, an experienced group of tight ends and some running backs that can really do a good job of catching the ball out of the backfield. You put all that together with a good offensive line and a solid run game. We should be pretty hard to stop this year if we just line up and play well and do our job.
Well, we talk about your running ability and all, but when you look at the most successful quarterbacks in history, whether they be collegiate, NFL, most times they have a very strong pocket presence. They're great pocket passers,
Definitely.
have the ability.
Yep.
I mean, because like you said, you're throwing the ball. The whole running college Big Ten sort of gameplay has only just recently started becoming popular, with the emergence of guys like Lamar Jackson and those guys. But I kind of wanted to pick your mind a little bit. You're talking a little more pass heavy. We mentioned, Justice, JoJo, those guys. You have so many threats in that run game will help spread the ball a little bit, keep the defensive pressure off you, maybe widen the space a little bit. But what direction do you see the offense going? Like, how do you see it running? I know you said pass heavy, but like, how do you see the offensive scheme going?
Well, and I keep talking about the wide receiver group, but I'd be lying if I told you that. I mean, we're gonna be pretty balanced this year. I mean, there'll be certain games where we're going to have to throw the ball 30, 40, 50 times a game because teams are just stacking the box. There'll be times where they're trying to take the pass away and they're dropping 8 guys, only rushing 3. So, I mean, we have the ability to do whichever we want. As long as me at the quarterback position, I execute in what I see down the field and in the box with the defense and the front 7. It'll definitely be, I know I've spoken really, really highly about the wideout group, but I mean I can't speak high enough of the running back group. They're, 2 1,000-yard rushers coming back. We've got some young running backs that are showing a lot of promise. So I mean, you combine that with an offensive line that has a lot of snaps combined between. I mean, we'll be able to run the ball and be pretty balanced.
Well, and there's nothing more you could really ask for as a quarterback. You have the wideouts, you have the targets, you have the running backs, you got the line coming back, you got that experience, you have the hunger, the passion. So that can really help, especially with pocket passing. You need to have a running game to keep you you don't want to be one-dimensional.
Definitely.
So it definitely helps to have those threats on your side of the ball.
Definitely. I mean, when you're able to set up the pass with play action because you have a solid running game, that makes my job so much easier. And it makes the receiver's job so much easier because you're going to get a lot of reaction to the run. So, I mean, receivers are going to have more clean releases and everything works off of each other. I mean, and then when we start opening it up in the pass game, teams are going to start respecting the pass more. And then our big offensive line is going to take over and we'll be able to run the ball between the tackles, which all of our running backs have the ability to do. And all camp, they've done a great job of.
Looking forward looking towards after college, is there any goals or anything that you want to do or plan to do after graduation?
So at some point I'm going to finish my MBA. I just started it this semester, but I mean, if this season goes well, I'll try to train for a pro day here and go to like pro days nearby, whether it's at Penn State or Pitt, whatever it may be, and try to pursue playing after. But I mean, I'm not going to be too crazy about that. I mean, I'll give it a solid try, and if it works, great. If not, I would love to just get into the workforce, whether it be, my degree's in business management. So, that could take me a lot of places. I'd love to get into sports management if that presented itself, considering my background. So, I haven't really thought too much in depth about my professional goals. Just really trying to enjoy this last year of football and take it one day at a time, make the most of it.
Right, and unless Steve or Jeff have anything else they want to.
Honestly, I think one of the things we kind of got into it a little bit is we don't talk about people don't look at athletes in any level of sport. It's like half the time we don't look at them as people. We only look at what they do on the field. We don't look at off the field. Yeah. I did some research. You started as an electrical engineering major. I'm about to say, am I correct on that one? So you obviously you were a National Honor Society in high school. Yeah. You obviously have the mental capability with the physical capability. You obviously have a good head on your shoulders. You already told us your plan. You're not putting all your money in on football. You have a backup plan. So, I think it's good to kind of see that side of the athlete, talk about, your idols, your parents. I think it's so important for fans to quit looking at athletes as, just a convenience.
Superheroes.
I was about to say, we need to quit. They're
like
people, too.
Yeah.
And I feel that's a good side we need to get to it. And that's the whole point of our program is getting connected with the athletes, being able to showcase and get an inside perspective on not only the athlete, the teams, everything. So it's really nice to bring that in.
Well, about the electrical engineering major, I sat down with my advisor the first day at OU, and I realized that wasn't going to work with the schedule. That was no way that was going to happen.
That's actually kind of funny because I started out as a business management major.
Yeah.
I was in the honors program for IUP, and I after like a semester, I sat with my advisor. I'm like, I don't mind this, but this isn't where I want to go.
Yeah.
So I changed, and I went to comm with these guys because they convinced me, and I loved it. So it was kind of funny. I'm just like, you went to the major I switched out of.
Yeah, well, and I definitely think you bring a good point. Is oftentimes athletes are viewed as just athletes, and people forget that they're regular humans too. And professional athletes in any sport are an exception to the norm. I mean, less than 1% of football players who play high school football and even college football make the pros. I mean, that's the cream of the crop. I mean, that's as good as it gets. So I mean, athletics are going to end. I mean, for anybody. I mean, you can only do it for so long. I mean, Father Time catches up with everybody. So even guys in the professionals, they have to have something to fall back on, and that's why getting my degree was so important to me. So I have something to fall back on when sports is done.
That's a good plan.
Solid plan.
Yeah, solid plan to write it out. Before we close out today, season starts this Saturday, Quinton.
Yep.
New Haven against IUP here at the Mill. Let's look at the schedule. Any opponents you particularly look forward to facing, or anyone that's piqued your interest?
I mean, you can always look forward, but I mean, right now our focus is on New Haven. I mean, we're trying to go 1-0 on Saturday. I mean, we know what we're gonna have to do down the line. I mean, a game at Slippery Rock for their homecoming, big rival. I mean, rivalry games are never easy, let alone when it's for their homecoming. Then the next week, Cal, or I might have those backwards. We have Cal and Slippery Rock back to back. I mean, tough road games. I mean, throughout the entire. I mean, Mercyhurst has got a good program, but I mean, we recognize that. But at the same time, right now our focus is solely on New Haven and getting the Chargers in here Saturday. One game at a time. 1-0, hopefully 15 times in a row. That's my goal. I think that's everybody else's goal, from the coaching staff to the training staff to all the players. So, I mean, but right now the focus is solely on New Haven and this Saturday taking care of business.
Yeah, totally. And, we look forward to it. 1-0 hopefully coming up. And I think, we've talked about the core how many times, so I think you guys have the tools and the players to, overcome New Haven the rest of the schedule and
Definitely.
sort of replicate the 2017 season, if not go further than that. So
we want to. It can be a special run. We just got to make sure that we do our part, and make sure that there's nothing that we didn't do. We don't want to have regrets at the end of the year.
And I'm going to make this a little personal for all the IUP fans here. I would love nothing more than to go to Slippery Rock's homecoming and take back what they took from us last year. I would love nothing more than that. I'm being a homer right now. I would love to see that.
And I've been to Slippery Rock during their homecoming when we played them 2 years ago, and
it's crazy.
It is crazy, but when you beat them, there's nothing better than make an entire stadium cry.
And I'm gonna say it now, Slippery Rock fans, obnoxious. My dad and my brother both graduated. They talked all that trash last year during basketball season, and we came out on top. And I was just like, all these Slippery Rock fans, we gotta shut them up this year.
Yeah, so we're looking forward to the season. I mean, obviously New Haven's first, and then we'll worry about. I don't even know who we play after that. But New Haven's on our mind right now, and we're excited. I mean, everybody's tired of going against each other in practice, so we're ready to get out there, play somebody who's not in the crimson and gray. So.
Well, we're going to look forward to see you go all in this Saturday against New Haven. But that'll do it here on this episode of Off the Field, or Off the Court, however you look at it. I've been Jake Slobonic alongside Jeff Hart and Steve Langdon Jr. Quinn, thank you again for coming on our program today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you very much.
Very special to have you on our first episode of the year, that is. And again, New Haven and IUP this Saturday at the Mill. If you can't attend, always tune into WIUP FM 90.1 on the radio dial, or streaming live on IUP Athletics for IUP TV Sports. I'll be commentating the TV stream. Steve will be on the radio. Jeff will find his way in later in the season. We've got a lot of people joining for that. So that'll do it for us. We'll look forward to it next time here on Off the Field on the Penn Sports Network.